It's a brick film. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, no budgets and letting it all hang out. It is Brick, the film. Yeah.
This film walked into my office and I already knew it was trouble. It's from a director who I knew from long ago. Seen many times, seen many do great things, but somehow it seemed different this time. What you doing here? I said. Here to show you Brick, came the response. I looked at my partners, Sean Nabra and E.J. Lee, and I said, I feel like this fella's trouble, but we gotta hear him out. Let's hear what his story is. I've gone slightly southern. It's already in a spiral, but I didn't let that stop me. This is still all part of the monologue. And so, I turned and I said to the film that walked in, director that walked in, I've already lost the... Welcome back to Hurd Ya Saw! I tried with the bit.
Hey, lasted a good 30 seconds.
Yeah,
good.
That's like a decent-ish cold open. Welcome back to Hurd Ya Saw. This is your host with the most, your boy, your man on the edge, your lone detective, Nick. And I'm joined with Sean Nabra.
Hello.
And EJ Lee.
Hello.
And we just watched Ryan Johnson's Brick. So, we begin as ever with our wonderful round of one-line hot takes. I'm going to go with Sean. Your one-line hot take on Brick.
I think this was the film that basically guaranteed that Joseph Gordon-Levitt will always be my boy.
He's really good in this. He's just... I mean, there are precious few films that he's not, does a serviceable performance, but he really... Oh, and this was his transitional film, right? Because prior to this, it was all Third Rock from the Sun, massive break from acting, and then Brick.
Yeah.
Hell of a comeback. EJ, your one-line hot take.
I remember why I watched the subtitles the
Yeah.
other time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say I've never been more, directly angry at people outside the flat.
Yeah.
Than when, someone says,
Yeah.
I'll never know what that was.
Yeah.
And for my one-line hot take, oh crikey, what I love about this film is the way that it's so earnest, but is built within this apparently ridiculous structured reality that doesn't really exist. So it's like it's the highest low stakes movie. No, it's the lowest high stakes.
No, you were right.
The highest low stakes movie ever. It's fantastic, and I love it. So, since this is ostensibly a mystery film, are we going to do a full synopsis or just premise, or
Premise.
what's in your heart,
There's
EJ?
too much to synopsize. This film is incredibly complicated, and I'm not convinced I completely follow all of the threads that it leaves. It leaves no loose ends, but they're extremely difficult to follow. Basically, we open on the death of a girl, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is investigating. And in the 2 days before, he knows she's in trouble. He knows it's to do with drugs, or guesses. And there are several different groups of high school cliques involved. She's killed or dies, and he goes around investigating who's involved, why she was killed, who he can kick back at and destroy, and gets in deep in the teenage drug dealing of Southern California.
The seedy underbelly of high school life. I feel like I'm going to just say up front that we might talk about spoiler aspects to this film. It's highly worth watching. I mean, it's kind of old.
It's 13 years old now.
Yeah, it's really 2005. Good lord.
Yeah.
But highly worth watching if you've not seen it. Consider this the spoiler alarm.
I think it's been 10 years since I've seen this film.
Wow. It had been 5 years for me, approximately, I think, because I saw it in 2012, 2013.
I think I saw it in about 2012, and that. So I think it was in that build up to Looper, and that. Some people
Yeah,
telling
exactly
me to
the
go
same
watch
thing.
this.
Yeah, friend of the show, my friend Sam, was like, "Hey, you enjoyed Looper?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You should totally watch Brick. It's awesome."
Yeah.
And we went and watched it, and it was awesome.
I said this off mic, but I watched Brick by accident in 2008 because my dad ordered it from Netflix when he still got DVDs in the mail. That was the time.
Oh yes, man, the days before terrible, terrible streaming services.
Yeah.
Man, so EJ.
Yes.
So as the person who saw Brick longest ago,
Yes.
what were your thoughts on this film?
It fucking holds up.
Yeah.
Like, I watched this film before I'd ever seen Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is heavy in this film.
Yeah.
This is like if Twin Peaks was less weird.
Like a more normal high school noir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so similar.
Yeah.
In not in like a way where it's ripping it off, but it's taken some influence from it.
Yeah.
I see a little bit of sometimes almost Wes Anderson. in
Yeah,
this.
I was totally gonna say
Yeah.
some of the way that some of the shots are constructed has that kind of Wes Anderson-esque like kind of artful nature to it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes
Plus
feels
also like some of the tone of some of the scenes are very
Yeah.
Wes Anderson, and
Yeah.
where it feeds into more comedic elements.
there's that great
Yeah.
bit near the end when he goes to like the Pins den, and he walks in and all of like Tug's heavies are there just having like juice
Yeah.
with the Pins mom, and it's got
Yeah.
that kind of like absurdist comedy aspect to it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Every single one of them is wearing like a wife beater T-shirt.
Yes.
Like,
There was really strong costume work in this film, I think.
yeah.
Like everyone had a very on-brand look.
Yeah.
Like especially Laura, the I
Yeah.
guess the femme
Mm.
fatale of the film. Like she had some tremendous outfit work done. I was just
Yeah.
all like, this looks great.
Whereas other characters never change their outfit whatsoever
Mm.
over the weeks it takes place. Everyone wears the same thing except for her.
Yeah. And the girl in the drama department,
Oh yeah.
where every time he goes to see it, is wearing a
Yeah.
different, more outrageous costume.
All the men wear the same thing.
Yep.
All the women change.
Yeah. Ah, it's like it really holds up for me because I was on a very much like not less a Ryan Johnson kick and more just a Joseph Gordon-Levitt kick at that time, because I was all like, oh man, he was in G.I. Joe and was tragically underused.
Mm.
Is he?
Yeah, he's fucking Cobra Commander.
Oh god, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it's bad. Like he only has his regular face in like one scene,
Yeah.
which is a flashback, and then he dies in the flashback, and it's revealed. Actually, G.I. Joe, it was me, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And you're like, oh, you needed a paycheck.
I didn't see that.
Oh, don't.
I won't.
It's a very bad film. It also has a remarkable appearance of Brendan Fraser in a completely uncredited role.
Oh, I've heard of this.
There's
Uncredited,
in G.I. Joe, there's a bit where the Joes are doing a training montage to become Joes, and there's like a sergeant guy who's been like, I don't know if they're quite tough enough, during all their exercises, and it's fucking Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
It's clearly him, uncredited. Not in the credits at all, just not even named, he's just there.
That's weird.
It's really weird. But to come back to Brick, this reminds me a lot in feel, obviously, of one of the favourite shows that we've done, which was Bound.
Yeah.
That whole noirish
Vibes.
kind
Yeah.
of like, not just the whole noir and mafia kind of like murder mystery-esque storytelling, but also the way that it was shot, like the feel of it. It
Yeah.
had that very kind of constructed air to it. Like I mentioned in my one-line hot take, like this, because they're teenagers, but they're doing the incredibly serious business of dealing drugs and murdering each other.
Yeah.
It strikes you as like, well, this clearly isn't fully reality as it exists. You know,
Yeah.
it's like the vice principal is like the police chief,
Yeah.
even though that's not what a vice principal is.
Yeah.
So it has this sense of like nothing's quite real, and then suddenly it strikes you with these moments of tremendous reality.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I really love how it really does stay true to like the tropes and like conventions of film noir,
Yeah.
and it's just like you could slot everybody into their role really, and it's a silly thing. It works so perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's a great genre piece. It's absolutely like just on it, and the way it's shot. There's some beautiful bits of
it's
editing.
incredible.
Like
Yeah.
the first was it the match cut from the title card
Yeah.
is super good. Like even so, I was like, that's a good match cut.
Yeah.
So, and there were so many moments where I was just making like little like hand gestures, like like I'm rubbing my fingers like I'm just tasting a delicious piece of food.
Yeah.
There's lots of like little bits where they do clever cuts. Like a lot of the punches that are thrown are filmed in really interesting ways. It's like, isn't it? I can't remember who hits him. I think it's when he first meets Dowd. Dode.
Doge.
I thought,
Might be Doge.
I think it's Toad.
Yeah, Dode.
Okay.
I thought Dode like Toad, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
There's the bit where he punches the cigarette out of his mouth,
Yeah.
and it like you see the swing from one angle, then it cuts to like another shot to show the impact, and then it cuts to another thing to throw the cigarette fly away. It's like a really like
Yeah.
on the single moment. It works really, really well. It's like, definitely you can see DNA of Looper in this as well. Like Ryan Johnson definitely has a style.
Yeah.
The question I want to throw to you guys: have you both seen The Last Jedi?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So how do you feel about Johnson as a director going from clearly indie passion project written and directed by him, obviously total artistic control, to something which would have been very studio led, albeit he still managed to create one of the most controversial modern films? Like, do you think you can see kind of like the elements pulling from one to the other of like his directorial style?
No. I thought that Last Jedi was not good.
Really?
It was like, I feel nothing towards it. I feel virtually nothing towards Star Wars in general.
I had the same. Let's just quickly get all of our positions.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Star Wars. Last Jedi made me care about Star Wars.
Really?
Because I was like, this is great.
I didn't care about Star Wars.
And you
I
continue not to care.
I continue to not care. I generally liked the reboot, not the reboot, the big one that came back and
The Force
everyone
Awakens.
freaked out.
Yeah.
That one. You know the one.
The big one that came back. Yeah.
And then, I thought Johnson did Rogue One.
No, that was Gareth Edwards who did that.
Oh, word, okay.
Yeah. Didn't someone get kicked off that?
Yeah, Josh Trank was originally.
Oh,
then,
oh God, but
Then,
yeah.
of course, they had the whole Fantastic Four thing and that
Fan Force
basically.
Stick.
Right,
Yes, Fan
yeah.
Force Stick.
Yeah. Killed his career.
Mm.
Well, also him apparently being a douchebag.
Apparently so.
Apparently being
Allegedly.
A douchebag.
Yeah. I didn't care about The Last Jedi. It was fine. There was elements that I liked.
Yeah.
But in general, it was kind of shit.
That's good.
Yeah.
Divisive
that's a different
opinions on the
podcast.
cast. Yeah.
But in general, I thought the directing was fine. It was
sure.
nothing of note.
Star Wars in general means a lot because like one of my earliest memories is my mum saying, "Watch Star Wars, I think you'll like it."
Okay.
And like, I absolutely love it, and like I love like the direction that Last Jedi took. It took it in a different way, especially like I've seen like the behind the scenes documentary, and it's interesting. Like if you watch behind the scenes documentaries, Force Awakens and Last Jedi, they're two very different ones. Like Force Awakens is very much, we're making a Star Wars films. Everything's wonderful. It's great. It's wonderful. There's no pressure at all. It's great. It's wonderful. It's brilliant. Last
To be
Jedi.
fair, they must have been like, well, the last 3 films that came out.
Yeah.
I had nothing to lose.
Yeah, we were just like, I mean, we're making a new one.
But it's that thing of like Force Awakens documentary. It just made it. It's just great fun. We had no problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
Watch for Last Jedi. It's just, oh fuck, this film's gonna kill me. It's just,
Oh, shit.
it is like it's a really good, in-depth, honest look at what it takes to make a big blockbuster and like the pressures that come along with it.
Interesting.
And like with Last Jedi, like in that as well, they keep in the whole thing about how Mark Hamill does and like where it went with Luke.
Yeah.
Like it's that thing of like,
Which he did later retract of
Yeah.
multiple errors. He was all like, actually, now that I've seen it all finished, I'm like, yeah, all right.
it's the thing. He put a good line where it's just like, I don't agree with what they do with the character, but I understand it. And it's that thing of like, it's not mine to control. It's his.
But the thing I find interesting is that we were just talking about how Ryan Johnson in Brick, it's a really strong genre piece where he's very clearly observing all of the different tropes, and he plays that pretty much by the book. Like, you have a conventional noir story, which, you know, homages like lots of other noir stuff,
Yeah.
and plays it straight. It ends with the slightly dour ending with the sort of like, I'm a hard-bitten private detective whose life is falling apart and I'll probably end up in the bottle kind of thing. You know, like, I'm my own worst enemy due to, like, you know, I just want to say, sorry, complete minor tangent. I really liked the strong contrast between Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character in the present and the emotionality and range that he showed in the flashback to the breakup sequence.
Yeah.
Like the bit when he says, I love nothing else but you!
Yeah.
And I was like, it's such a... It's interesting because it's evocative of, like, when you're a teenager, you feel all of your emotions at, like, 200%.
Yeah.
You know, and everything feels like the most important thing in the world. Like, your first relationship is the most important relationship there's ever been.
Yeah.
And it's got that naivete. But then you take that and extrapolate it through the lens of noir, and you have, like, no, this was, like, his big one love, and now he's a broken, fucked up guy,
Yeah.
even though he's fucking 17 or whatever. And you're just like,
Yeah.
which is really cool. But one of the things that Last Jedi has that makes it, I think, quite interesting is that it deliberately tries to subvert the genre that it's a part of. It, like, deliberately takes, like, okay, here's the established formula that you think you all know, and we're going to go the opposite direction. I think it's interesting seeing Johnson go from something that's so reliant on genre tropes to something that relies on them, but in completely the opposite way. Like, showing that he's moving around, you know, I feel like he's become, you could say that he's become aware of tropes in a way that now he's sort of, okay, I'm aware that these have, like, a metatextual value, and I'm, like, turning my film around that. Which is, like, I think is a very interesting position to approach film from.
Do you know what he's doing next?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Well, I remember hearing that he was going to head up the next Star Wars trilogy.
Oh, there's
Like-
going to be another trilogy?
God.
Apparently so, yeah.
Oh, of course, Disney, you know.
Yes, they make their money, haven't they? Because they
Well,
don't
I
have
heard
enough
that
already.
I heard that everything got thrown out because, like, Solo underperformed.
The spin-off, next spin-off.
Oh, the
got sort of
spin-off,
thrown off,
which
but,
is the
like,
Boba Fett one, right? Or so.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares about Boba Fett?
I know. It's just like,
It's like, he's a guy with a cool design. That's about it. I don't really need anything else. But I'll always give him a spin, Rian Johnson. I think that he's definitely got an interesting directorial voice, just to be like, what are you up to?
He's writing the next one.
The next Star Wars?
Yeah.
Well, the
With
third,
George Lucas.
the third one, or the one after?
The-
Untitled Star Wars Trilogy Episode 1. is
Oh,
the next
okay,
thing
so
it's
the new
credited
trilogy.
as.
All right. Blimey. Okay, well, good luck to him. I imagine lots of people are going to be very pissed off about that. But lots of people are also going to be very pleased about that.
Yeah, that's the way of Star Wars.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. What do we make of him as a performer?
He's extremely good in this film.
He's got range. He almost, in some aspects of this, reminded me a little of, like, Keanu Reeves. In the sense that people sometimes criticize Keanu Reeves for not having that much range. But I saw a thing on Twitter recently where I think it was because it was his birthday a couple of days ago, right? He's 54?
What?
Yeah, he's 54.
Jesus.
He was like, happy birthday, Keanu Reeves. You know,
Was he on the show?
friend
Yeah.
of the show. Keanu, our boy. But they said, like, yes, he's got a specific narrow range, but his level of ability within that range is astronomical. And I think we saw a real, like, shades of that within this film, because the character of Brendan that Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays, apart from those key scenes, I really like the scene in the bedroom where he fucking cries.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like, you know what, I'm sure I've talked enough on the podcast about how I really enjoy seeing alternative takes on masculinity and seeing vulnerability being shown as something that is a genuine facet.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of a genre, and a version of the trope, right? Because normally you'd have the hard-bitten detective who's
Yeah,
locked
'cause-
off from his emotions, but you
Yeah.
had this moment
Yeah.
where he
broke it.
cracks,
Yeah.
and you get to see that he is still just a kid
Yeah.
who's lost someone he really cares about. Ah.
And also, all of the other men in this film, he just goes around and says how much they're saps. They're all being taken for a ride by the other two main women.
Yeah.
The drama girl and Laura.
Yeah.
They're taking all of these men for a ride, and they're playing every single one.
Mm.
No one else is in control.
Yeah.
They all think they're in control, but they're not.
Yeah.
Which is completely different than what you'd see in, like, a 50s detective story.
Yeah, you'd have the concept of, like, the dangerous woman, the femme fatale and all that,
Yeah,
but she
but
was...
this is different.
Yeah, it's more direct and she's got more agency than you would
Yeah.
have from like the origins of the time. Ooh. So
Every
now I
every
want to.
single one. They're all being played by those two women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, so in fact, when we were saying that he like hits all the notes of the trope, again, he slightly subverts.
Yeah.
And is like providing a different kind of take on it.
Yeah.
That's way to have consistency, Ryan Johnson. Good
Yeah.
job. We
Yeah.
know you listened. Friend of the show. Ha ha. But excuse me. Soundtrack is bomb ass.
Excellent
It's
soundtrack.
so good. Those bits in like the quiet moments when it's like I don't know what like the little bells and like in sort of like fragmented scales going slightly, and it's just creating this sort of unearthly sense of tension which goes along with that whole slight sense of unreality in the film as well. That it's sort of like it's quite ethereal, it's almost dreamlike, and you're just like, ooh.
Yeah, it's excellently understated.
Oh, it's so good. I would happily actually listen to. I might have to try and get that. There, my soundtrack must be available, surely.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I might have to look into getting that just because I would happily listen to that. Like just sort of, it's good thinking music.
It is, yeah. It's just it is, not in a bad way. You can just stick it on the background, sort of thing. But it's not like it just fades away.
It's
sort of
discreet.
thing. Yeah,
it's discreet but present. It's very sort of like in your mind. It's sort of like
Yeah.
Oh man. So I'm definitely thinking we should probably watch Don John.
Okay, I have
'Cause
not
I-
seen that.
I'll be interested. It's again coming back to my hey, Nick likes to watch films and other media that explore concepts of masculinity and relationship between the genders being a thing. Falls well into that bracket, which we'll get to that because that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's directorial debut,
I forgot he directed that.
which he wrote and directed.
yeah, wrote and directed. Yeah.
Nice. Which we'll give that a look.
Okay.
How long have we been recording? Because I feel like I think I've said most of the things that I want to say.
There's not much to say about this film in
Yeah,
general because
apart
it's just so fucking solid.
Yeah, it's just a really fucking good job
Yeah.
piece of filmmaking. And like, I feel like this is a useful thing to look at if you want to make an indie film.
Yeah.
This was made, I presume, on a very small budget.
You could tell, like, I watched this film before I understood how to make films.
Yeah.
Because I was still in high school, I think.
Mm.
And you can tell what they did now that we kind of know what films look like. You can tell, like, when they go to the beach, they never show their mouths moving because every single bit of that is ADR. Like, there's all these cheats that you would never know about, but it was so clearly, like, brilliantly budgeted and made that you wouldn't know.
They were like, what?
They spent their money extremely well.
Like 4 locations, maybe? In the whole thing?
Yeah.
If that?
But they feels like they travel, but they don't.
Yeah. Are you looking up the budget
Yes.
right now, Sean? I'll be surprised if you can get it, actually, given that it was like...
450 grand.
Wow!
What?
Wow!
Fuck. That is insane.
How did they...
That's 2005 money.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like 2 mil.
I was thinking $1 million. Yeah.
Man,
That's insane.
that's incredible.
It made 3.9 million in the end as well.
That's
so like
that's fucking respectable.
Yeah.
No wonder he went on to do quite well for himself.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh. Fucking kudos to the people who are doing the budgeting.
Yeah.
Like just a whole team effort of just
That's the thing. I know Ryan Johnson's always used the same producer.
really
Like throughout everything, even with Star Wars. As well.
interesting.
I think his name's Ram Bergman. So he's produced everything that's like, his films that he's done, and that's obviously not the TV stuff, but
presumably knows his shit very
Yeah.
well. Man, 400 grand. Blimey.
That's insane.
That's crazy good.
Yeah.
Ooh, no appreciation for this
is
film.
another example of why money is fucking pointless when you're talking about film.
Yeah.
Look at what you can do with no money.
Yeah, I mean, going back
No
to...
money's relative.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
going back to, like, Bound as well. Bound has, like, 3 locations. If that. It's got, maybe, 3 rooms.
And they're all
And-
indoors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
no
they're
exterior.
It's probably
Yeah.
they're all sets probably as
Yeah,
well, isn't
it's
it?
just
So,
like they had
it's
3 rooms, all sets.
I were at a studio for a few weeks.
Yeah, and you know, like 4 major actors? And you're just like, alright.
Do you think it's higher or lower?
I'm gonna, higher or lower. Oh,
new segment.
New segment, higher or lower. I'm gonna take a guess at lower. But 400 grand's so low. Wait, what year was Bound made?
96.
Oh, it's gotta be lower. Because money went further back in those days.
Just figured out since it's our version of The Price is Right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now will I be able to find this fast enough?
Well, that's okay. Me and Sean can vamp for time. Sean,
Yeah.
you haven't committed to higher or lower yet.
Yeah, what's
400k, higher or lower, Sean Narborough, for the shoe that I'm holding. You won't win this shoe, it's not mine.
I'm gonna say higher, but not by much.
Okay. Do you wanna put a number to that, maybe?
No.
So I'm gonna say like 300.
Mm.
But in 1995 money.
Mm.
You know, because that's like money went further, literally. Jesus, like.
That was pre-crash.
Yeah. So the dollar.
Oh, so was this though, wasn't it?
2005? Oh yeah, 2008
Yeah.
was the crash. But
Yeah.
like, I feel like the dollar would have been weaker in 2005 than the 90s. Because the 90s was when the economy was ridiculously strong in America.
Oh. Okay. It was 6 million.
What?
And
Where did they spend the money?
It made 3.8.
Oh!
How was that possible?
Wachowski siblings, what
And they
happened?
got the Matrix off that as well. That's the thing.
You... How did they... Where did this... Like, okay, no disrespect. Bound is a beautiful movie. It looks good and it's a great film, but...
Well, they didn't put it into the blood budget because the blood looked like paint.
Yeah. Which I honestly thought was a like a thematic choice, given all the paint that's in the film. It was like a motif.
Maybe they just paid everyone a ton.
Maybe. I mean, hopefully,
That's what I'm thinking. It probably would have cost a lot to hire out the studio.
I guess, yeah, if they were just
That's
all
what I'm
sets.
thinking.
Yeah, rather than
Yeah.
filming on location. Because obviously Brick, like, everything was on location.
Yeah, it does seem like you're saying everything does seem to have been filmed in like a 15-mile radius.
Yeah,
really,
they
at
were just
times.
like, let's go to somewhere in California, knock it out.
Yeah, it was in. I don't know if it was actually in San Clemente, but I mean, every small town in small city in California looks like that.
Nice.
It's a very easy. Could have just found an area where there's a school here, there's suburbs here, there's a drainage pipe here.
Yeah.
Like
Done.
everything's sorted.
Nailed it. Have we got a car park? Yes? Okay, cool. Hire at least 2 cars.
Yeah.
one muscle car, one
yeah,
convertible.
it was filmed entirely in San Clemente.
Okay, there we go. Man. So basically, if you want to make a... Oh, that could be my final thought. Oh, shut up, Nick. Alright, so, we shall now rush headlong into final thoughts. That was a fun new segment. We should consider trying to, like, guess the budget shit.
Yeah, I'd
okay.
like to do that.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Okay. So, Sean, your final thoughts on Brick.
So like I said, this works. I think there's something. One ways this film was sold to me way back when was, not just it's Ryan Johnson film that you should watch. It's like this is a high school film noir.
Yeah.
And it was just that thing of like that's intriguing to me. I'm on board in that, and I ended up loving it. And like, 6-7 years later, and that it's just still so strong. It is definitely like it falls into those sort of the tropes of the film noir genre so well, but also as we figured out, and does
Change
it
familiar,
up as
but
well.
it's familiar, but it tweaks it in ways that you're like, and then you feel smart for having figured it out.
And like I said, this is one of the films that made Joseph Gordon-Levitt one of my boys, and that's like this.
He's a good boy to have.
Yeah, like this. Obviously, 500 Days of Summer, if you know me well enough. 50-50 as well.
50-50 is a remarkably underrated film.
It is a fan. Like that's one of those films, like, because it's written by Seth Rogen, and you think it will fall into that Rogen-esque film, and it's so different.
Well, the thing is about 50-50. Have you, EJ, seen 50-50?
Yeah. So,
I feel like anyone who's gone through a friend or relative actually having to do the whole cancer thing, which I have, like, there are things in 50-50 because it is based on a real story of Seth Rogen and his friend who actually had cancer, who wrote the film with. It doesn't matter like how silly it gets in some places, and there's some wonderfully silly bits.
Yeah.
But the reality of that situation, especially when it's taken from a lived experience, is so strong. Like the bit I'll always remember, minus spoilers for 50-50, I guess, as a side warning, is towards the end when he's going in for the surgery. And he spent the whole film not being kind of like dismissive of the whole situation and not being scared. And then right before they're going to take him in, he like freaks out and he's like, he wants his parents and he like hugs his mum and he's crying and shit. I'm like, that's moment, I've literally like seen that happen. I have been present for that happening. And I was like, that's real. Like that's unequivocally how that is.
I mean, there's like a 10-minute period in that film where it's like it's him going in for surgery, which it chokes me up.
It hits me right in the guts.
And like the bit where he basically has like his breakdown in the car the night before.
I still think about that scene.
It's such a like that was. I think that might have been the moments where Gordon Levitt became my boy, because it's just something I was just like, holy shit, that is so strong. And
it's a
just
really
like,
good performance from it.
Yeah.
And should we watch 50-50 at some point? I watch that
I will
film
always
again.
watch that film. I love that film.
It's a good film.
Just a really solid piece of filming.
Yeah.
This has been a long final thought, Sean.
Yes. Yes.
He's
Yes.
all right.
Wrap it
Yeah.
up. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, my boy.
All right.
Always.
Okay. EJ.
If I don't know, it's just a fucking great film. It's a fucking great film.
Yeah.
If you want to watch a great film, watch this film.
Yeah.
Put subtitles on.
Yeah. Or turn up really loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody mumbles and everybody talks like a lunatic, but it doesn't even matter.
Because you're still drawn in.
Yeah, like nobody talks like a real person, but it's
They
so
talk like
fucking
noir
beautiful
characters, right?
that you're just like, yeah. It's not. It's crazy, but it knows it's crazy.
Yeah. I tell you what. Okay, so my final thought. I got 2 points. One is the thing I was going to say earlier, which is if you want a primer on how to make a good indie film, if you got like a bit of a budget, you got a good script, you got a person who knows how to shoot a scene, make something like this.
Yeah.
Where you can like, and not just like make a noir,
Yeah.
but you can see the way that it's constructed is like a guidebook of like. You have a strong actor to build your film around. You have a strong plot that is complex but never too complicated. You have strong style. You have good visual design. You have good costume work. And you can lean on that to make something really potent, even without much in the way of flash. I mean, there's nothing... What stunt work or set pieces is there in this? There's like a chase scene, which is just Gordon Levitt running really fast.
Yeah.
He can run.
There's some fights, but they cover it well.
Yeah, they cut around the impacts and everything to imply strongly. Like, I love that there's that bit where in the fight he has with Brad, where like a lot of it kind of awkwardly takes place off camera.
It all takes place on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got just people like, oh, what's it? You have occasionally, like
It's
people
that brilliant
rear
thing where
up.
it's just they go off screen and then the tide changes for the fight.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just
It's just like comes back on.
constantly, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It means they cut around. It's clever because it's visually interesting because normally fight scenes aren't shot like that.
Yeah.
But also it allows you to not have to worry about injuring your actors or
Yeah,
having particularly good choreography.
Just
It's
throw
like
a few mats on the ground, you're good to go.
yeah, throw each other around. Shit, what was my other point going to be? Oh no! I got distracted by talking about good.
You just got distracted by how good this film is.
I did get distracted by how good this film is. Yeah, basically watch it, I guess. I'm gonna be on the train on the way home, listening to this to make sure that it's good to put up. This is how the sausage gets made here at Hurd Ya Saw Industries Limited.
There are no spoilers in this podcast. Except for 50-50, I guess.
Oh yeah. We managed to cleverly spoil kind of a different film to the film we were talking about.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. We will be back at another time. Unless we do another podcast between now and the end of the month, the next one will be the Power Rangers movie, which will...
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm going to Liverpool to do with an entirely new crew. There'll be Nick on the road.
Rejected.
That's okay. I'm fine with that. I should have really stopped it there, but I didn't get into the phone. I'm doing this upside down. It's really hard. So, dear listener, you always know it's going to go into a spiral when I start using a phrase like "dear listener." Yeah.
You need to have like a good cutting off, sign off, easy thing you can use all the time. You need a catchphrase.
A catchphrase to end the podcast. EJ just gestured at me to turn the podcast off.